I can use this to plug in the cap, right? It's pretty hot again. Well, it's probably gonna create some new silicone once I stop using the other one. So that might not work too well, but anyway, it's already there. So we got our Loctite silicone clear, and my battery just dropped again. It's so much easier when I had it inside the, I guess my pocket or something like that. It stayed put for me. I'll just have to keep remembering I have to hold this with the tripod or something like that. There's a little string here. I could probably attach it before I attach the latch, maybe. That might work. Let's do that. I'm gonna lift it off the latch. There's the latch there. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the string here, and then I'm gonna put the latch back on. Let's see if it actually does the job. There we go. Yeah, look at that. I always gotta figure out something better. So now it has no excuse to fall off. So every time I hold the tripod and the phone, it holds it with it. So I don't have to remember to hold two loose parts, you know. So I can just focus on clamping the tripod. And let's go ahead and get in there and nicely silicone that area there. So again, I'm using Loctite clear silicone. Seems like Loctite's the brand I always trust. Alright, so here we go. We'll squeeze. There we go. I can see the silicone running up the tube. There we go. And you could do it all around each wire, or you can just do it side by side. It's not bad. Just want to protect it from the water. Okay, so we got this one side here full of silicone. Alright, so we can go back to the other side and do that one as well. See if I can actually reach this guy here from the back, right? See if I can put my silicone through here and come back and surprise him from the other side. See if it'll reach. Oh, almost. There we go. Oh, it smells like it. It's not going to be as perfect as taking the bulb out and putting silicone, but again, I already put silicone in the housing it came in, so I don't want to take it back off yet. It just creates a water sealed, and that's really what we want to protect. There we go. I think it looks pretty good. Maybe just shape the silicone a little bit better. Let's see if I can do that and use the same tip to shape it. Just kind of jab it and move it around. It's like art. Okay. I don't put too much in the area though. I think it looks good on this side. I probably can't get an angle where I can see the other side. So let's go ahead and look at the other side too. We can fix that as well. Yeah, I didn't know why they even had tape there anyway. It's kind of ridiculous to hold two wires parallel together where they could have had it nicely water sealed better with some good old silicone. Okay, now I gotta turn the handlebars the other way. I try not to move my scooter when it's on the kickstand because you don't want to create a whole bunch of, you know, kind of a scar, not on cement, but wear on your center kickstand. No, center kickstand is just going to be supposed to be there for stabilization, not for you to drag it purposely. Okay, so let's go and remove this ugly, you know, electrical tape as well from this. I mean, if I replace this whole wire harness, pretty much I replaced almost 95% of everything on the scooter already. From its horn to its, the only thing we probably kept is the metal body frame, which, you know, even then I'm working on, and this plastic housing. There you go, look at that ugliness. You guys see it? Look at that. There is just no need for this, to be honest with you. Just kind of throw it on the ground. Okay, there we go. Let's go and wipe off that little ugly, sticky, you know, adhesive residue from the cheap tape. So far we haven't got a chance to really use our M3 yet, but we will. There will be plenty. Now I'm tugging on it, but I think what's holding it really inside is the silicone that we last put in there. So I'll try not to tug on it too hard, because for one thing I don't want to yank the wires off of its base. And then we'll test everything out to make sure it still works, of course. So I'm waiting to use that M3, but so far I haven't yet. So let me go and just put this guy back in his case. I don't want to get him dirty. There's a sticky side to him. There we go. Let's just put him in here. That way he doesn't get a little dirt on top. Leave him in his little protective clamshell. Alright, so let's go ahead and put some silicone in there as well. Let me see if I can scrape a little bit more off with my nail. Some of the residue might be a little bit of silicone, maybe from a little bit connection in, but more than likely it's not. So this is the left side. Alright, take my shop rag again, give it a little bit, one more feel, and making sure that, yeah, you guys can't see what I'm doing, but I'm using a little bit of my finger to feel all the imperfection or dirt or grime off. Okay, so let's see if I can get, you guys can see where I'm focusing on. I'm gonna come from underneath. I know this wire's in the way. See if I can pull them out of the way. There we go. Alright, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put silicone, like, supposedly what I'm trying to do is put silicone like right above and below, just kind of wrapped all around this darn little put area. And that's why you want like a little cone-shaped nozzle here like this from the silicone. Couldn't do it with the flat side, it'd just be too messy. It's already messy it is with a little bit of this cone one. But you want to squirt enough in there where it gets into the cracks, and then when it hardens it becomes like a nice, it still flexes, but it'll be a nice rubberize. Okay, there we go, we got it on this side. I'm just mushing it in, play with it just to make sure it's onto the wire and onto the base. Okay, now I'm going to come around and try to hit it from the other side. It's going to be a little bit harder, so I have to almost reach my arm from the other side to really get a good angle, or get the nozzle in a good angle. There we go. This one's coming nicely from the other side, so let's go ahead and finish this off. Just want to build enough gunk there, or enough silicone, neatly supposedly. Yeah, silicones gets messy sometimes. So you can see there I'm going from the bottom. Alright, there we go. So we got that little gunk there built up. Let me swerve the other side real quick too to make sure. Alright, see now that will be probably better than electrical tape, because you're actually targeting the area where the electrical tape was trying to fix or protect. And now it's more insulated from water, because the water can still penetrate through the opening of the electrical tape. Now what I'm doing is taking my hand and wiping off the excessive, we call it excessive. Okay, when it dries, it's going to be a nice little seal right there on the opening of around that area there. Now let's see if I can get down here and come from this side, because I couldn't get to the other side last time. So I can probably see if I can come from underneath. There you go. You guys see that? I can come from underneath much better. It's like a trick to this. Okay, now I'm going to squirt some more.
on this side, which I have not worked with, and it probably dries within a few hours, so you guys, it'll still stay wet probably for 24 hours, but you might want to start shaping it as soon as you can. There we go. I think we got enough silicone to cover each ends. This doesn't seem like it has enough, but there we go. Ship shape it. So it wants to ride up a little bit. So there we go. That should be enough silicone there to protect. Then I'm gonna go and take my finger. Just make sure I clean all around the area. Make sure your fingers are clean, because or else you'll get dirt trapped in there. I'll do the same thing for this guy here. I'll wipe my fingers clean with a shop rag. Alright, so this guy right here, we need to putty him a little bit more. See there, they're getting there. But you're almost having to shape it a little bit, because silicone, when it dries, it gets hard, and if it's not properly applied the areas you want it to, you're not going to have good luck. Cool. Alright, there we go. Alright. Get a shop rag. Alright, now I gotta wipe it from my screen here, because I think I had the silicone back out. Alright, so we got that done. So I guess those weren't really called for any electrical tape yet. So let's see what else is probably need to be electrical tape. That needs to be electrical tape, really. I guess I would prefer, if I had choice to unravel all this, I probably would, but it's pretty sealed already, so I don't want to break the seal and put a new electric. I'll probably do the Tex wrap on it if I was going to open it next time. So no biggie. Or the Tex Flex, they call it. Call it Chicks Mix. Alright, so let's just make sure. You might want to wipe off any silicone residue from the wires that you don't want it to have. So that's what I'm doing here. Going back and fiddling around with it, but I shouldn't. I think there's enough silicone here to build all around that little wire there, to seal the water from getting in there. That's all you're really wanting to make sure, because these things look like they have a little sealed already on there. You could hit with a little bit of silicone, but I think it's fine. Okay, there was another one here. Yeah, this one right here. Look at that. It's just really unnecessarily. Let me put my silicone to rest for a second here. Hopefully it doesn't fall down and get dirty. Alright, so let's go and peel this guy off and see if he's just, I mean, if it's just wires, you know, they're not like, you know, soldered or anything, or no loose connections, then there's no need for a really electrical tape to come around and, you know, give it more ugliness. I mean, it's like, I mean, they're trying to hold it firmly, I understand that, but there's just no need to. You could put silicone on all these tips too, by the way. We could probably start doing that. All the wiring harness tips. We can go and put silicone. Oh, look, there is a little cut in that wire right here. So that's probably why they covered it. But I think with this one, again, same situation. We could probably put a little silicone and be done with. There's no need for this bunch of electrical tape. So let me go ahead and put some silicone here. Yeah, this is just, there's no need for all this gunk. So let me clean this real quick. Clean this. I think it's just the insulator's kind of slid a little bit. But other than that, the green wire and everything is still intact, and the baby blue wire is still intact. It's just a little bit of the, see, it's just the insulator's kind of ripping. Let's see if you can see it. See, it's just the insulator. I don't think the wire's even touched yet, so that right there could probably be a little silicone there to keep it in frame. And it would be a good chance to also get some silicone near that. So there we go. We removed some more ugliness to this one. This one's just tape, just for taping, really. I mean, it looks like it's gonna peel off too. I just don't want to ravel because it's the whole bushel like this, the whole wire harness. If you have to do it, you have to want to probably take out the whole wire harness, get from the head to the toe. So this one's fine. All right, so I'm gonna do a little scrubby tubby. Okay. What you do is want to get all that little nasty stuff off. This is not even ripping yet. All right. Now that we got it clean in between, also want to make sure. Probably gonna go ahead and hit it with some silicone. Let's see up here. See if I get a better angle if I get this off. There we go. See that? So yeah, I can get this to rest for a second. Yeah. This is fine. We'll put some silicone inside there. Yeah, we can. And then we'll bring it all the way up, let it stretch to cover that little slit that I made. So let's get back our silicone. And let's knock that out. While it's still silicone, still not dry, so that's good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to get it here. There we go, I'm building it. It's good that it's warming up the metal. I mean, it's warming up the scooter. A little bit warm now, the sun's coming up. Because again, you don't want to really work with anything adhesive. Unless you have, a heat gun in hand, and yeah, you can feel free to do that. So you can see here, I got it all wrapped up. From one side anyway, so let's turn it around. Let's turn this guy around, and let's make sure he gets some silicone on the other side too. As I'm twisting the wire, it's going to twist a little bit, bringing some of the silicone on the other side, which is fine. Alright, so there we go. I put him down so I can actually work with him. That should be plenty actually. Okay, now it's a matter of working the silicone perfectly around him, like a donut. Create a donut that's going to seal his bottom as well as all around him. Give him a little support waistline there. So let me go and put this guy clamp between my knees, the tripod, and so I can work with one hand turning it. Okay. There you go, see that? You guys probably can't see it, so try to go like that way. Yeah, it's just building a little bit of gunk there. I'm not squeezing any more silicone, I'm just moving existing silicones all around. Hopefully, when it hardens, it will build that little little brace there around him. There we go. That's good right there. Silicone's hard, so you don't want to shift it too much, or else you're going to redo your work, and it's never going to be perfect. So once you get it to semi, you can see here how I have it here. I got swerved around here. I get a clearer shot. There we go. You can see here, have it swerved around, all the way around. You can see where the slit is. It's covered with silicone now. See there? You can't see the slit no more. And that's what all that little big huge electrical tape was defective, because it probably locks moisture in there, because again, if it's open like that, there's no point. So that was the reason why they put electrical tape. And this one here, I put my little heat shrink properly there, so that one's good. So okay, so now I have to actually put this in there without compressing my silicone. So I'm gonna try to carefully there. There we go. It's clicking in. So there we go. That was our project there. We got that done. We got that done. And let's go, and I think that was it. We really hadn't had really a chance to really use our 3M. I was almost thinking of taking the 3M and wrapping this around here, but I think the 3M will leave a residue too, a sticky residue. So more than likely when we actually take this out, we'll put some heat shrink where we could take it off. Now the idea to actually get that solder work on here, because I really want to redo these tips, and of course change this fuse line, and actually break this off and put a new connector in. You can see here how old it is. We'll have to cut this tie strap back off. So we really didn't use the 3M for right now anyway. So let's see here. How are we gonna do this? We can do a little test connector, and I think the best way to do a test connector is actually take out this fuse here to start testing it with the wires for the fuse. So we're gonna see how this butane works and how it all comes to play. So let's go and open this up. Best way to tackle something you never did or try is to actually do it. So let's go ahead and get this guy out of his package here. There we go. Comes off. Feels pretty damn good. It says here continuous. Oh, maybe this is to lock it down or something. Gas. Okay, this is how you can turn up more gas, less gas. It feels hot already. This butane's not even on. It feels really hot. It's like, did someone use this before they sold it to me? It feels warm, actually, a little warmer than normal temperature, and there's no butane at all connected to it. That's crazy. I guess I just want to get a feel for the buttons first. So this is where you push it, right? So it's like a big lighter. That's all it is. I believe butane is actually what they put in lighter fluid also. So, and then torch, micro torch. I'm not sure what this is, but we'll figure it out. See, there's some basic instructions, just a real quick. Okay, here we go. Excuse me. All right, so you can see here's the Harbor Freight brand, and so this is the burner. This is the air ring. I guess maybe have to get some more air in there. Gas dialer, which is probably on the other side. There we go, gas dialer there. Get trigger. There we go, that's the trigger. Trigger doesn't even look like it's pushed all the way. Or maybe you have to hold this and push the trigger. Let's see. Nope, the trigger only actually pushed this very little. Let me see if I can push it hard enough. And it sure is, it doesn't go anymore unless there's a safety. Oh, maybe this is a safety right here. So, let me see. Okay, okay, I gotcha. So this might be a safety here. There you can push it, there you go, see? So this thing right here, you hold down, or you can hold this continuous. Okay, so this is a little safety there. Figured they have a child safety so you don't accidentally. Okay, so you pull that down and then you can push the button and hold it. Then when you're done with it, this little safety here won't let you push it. So you pull down the safety latch, push it like that. I guess if you want to go continuous, how would you hold the continuous button? So, that's it, and then you attach the can. So shall we? Let's go ahead and see that. In fact, let's go ahead and prepare to cut and everything. Let's do this. Let's go and get our little fuse thing here. Our glow-in-the-dark fuse. We won't even put an amp in there just yet. Let's go ahead and prepare to snip it. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to bring this one side farthest we can to the little connector area here. 27 minutes and attached to this little Anchor portable battery charger. It's still recording almost a good hour now. 57 minutes and 33 seconds. Amazing. Okay, so we're gonna try to cut it somewhere here. One thing about this one is we're just gonna try and just put the connector here on this end first. So we'll splice the wires. We'll put the connector in on this end before we even cut this. That way we can test out how to use our butane. So here goes our wire connector. And let's go in. I think we got the right tip for it, but I want to double check. Make sure. Probably gonna use a pretty small tip. There we go. We'll use this tip right there.
I think this tip right here will probably engage the wires. We can also crimp it. I was told also, APM mentioned you can always crimp any tip really. You know, you might have to have stronger crimp though. But see, this one looks like it'll go in, but it goes in pretty damn loosely. So we can probably get into something smaller, but with this size, because we can't go any smaller diameter or else it won't fit our battery terminal. So we're trying to make a new positive battery terminal, as well as getting rid of that fuse piggyback. So let's see if we can find a see if we can find a tip. These little washer, very small micro washer. You can almost swallow them. All right, let's see here. Anything smaller than that size. It's gonna be filled in with solder anyway, but still we want to see if we can go with the smallest one as possible. I believe these are probably the same. Yeah, these are probably the same. Yeah, they're probably the same, so can't really do with these on, but it'll be a good lesson learned. Also, I brought a little clamp here so we can clamp it. I guess we can try to clamp it somewhere where I can use sort of my scooter frame here as a vise, sort of. So let's see if we can do this. I hate to do that way, but let's see. Or I can use something else to structure it. There we go. Why don't I use this? It's not going to hurt anything. The jack will be better. So we'll clamp it onto our jack, and then we'll solder the tip. Oh yeah, this will work. Okay, so here we go. So there we go. We'll have it sit there, and we'll get our wire. Since our wire is pretty hard, first of all, let's strip the wires. Okay, this is a pretty good gauge wire. See if it tells you what gauge they are. This is a 14 gauge wire. It tells you right there. AWG 14. So it's 14 gauge wire. Has a tolerance of 150 Celsius, 600 volts, witta. It doesn't say water, it's witta. Okay, that's it. That's all we know about this one. So let's go ahead and we're gonna put the tip, try to follow the flow of this. It doesn't really matter, but we're gonna put the tip right here on this side. So that way it follows the same flow as our Sibrin horn. So we'll put the tip on this side. We'll use every bit of it. So let's see how much tip we need to cut. And this is actually an inspector hole, but you could probably start putting solder in there as well. So we'll see if we can actually use our own solder in there. So what we'll do is we'll splice it. And what's great about this is it can, you know, since it's a thick gauge wire, it'll probably hold itself upright for us. But we'll see. Let's see. Okay, so we're gonna go here, find our 14 gauge. This looks like it says 12 gauge, and then this says 10 gauge. So this might be 14 here. It says a 1. It's kind of, sorry, it's kind of vanished out. So I assume it's probably this third one here. So we'll cut a little bit here, just enough for it to fit into our wiring. There we go. That'll work. Give it a good twist. Let's make sure some insulator might get in there as well. I guess that's fine. We just want to make sure. Okay, and then you want to maybe get your heat shrink right away so you can prepare the heat shrink, because we can't come back from the other side because that's bulky. So let's go and get our heat shrink in there. We're going to get a different color code, and I think we have the heat shrink in the other toolbox. So before I go in the other toolbox, let me go and get the other swell, because we have to actually, we're going to do the solderless one, but we're actually going to use our propane to do it. So we're going to use these guys here. They already have the solder in. We're going to use the propane to actually light up. We're not going to use the lighter. Hopefully that creates a little bit more even heat if we do it right. If we don't, we will be roasting it. All right, where are you? I need all my heat shrink. Oh, you know what? They're in here. There we go. Go and bring these guys out as well. And our heat shrink. It's kind of nice to be able to record in the sunlight. Sunlight. Beautiful skies. See, the grass has no snow. You can't see. Yeah. There we are. Nice day to work. Just lay back in the chair. But gotta get back to work. Okay, so let's go ahead and prepare our heat shrink. Which one we're gonna cut the tube as well. Okay, since I think there is a red color, which is the closest one, is like that little sort of reddish orange. This one right here. So this will work. And let's see how much we really want. I really want to use only half of it. I'm not trying to cover the most of the red color wire, so I always go for half. Let's see, there's another. Has it been cut? No, there's no cut half. So we'll cut it now. I think we can use this to cut it as well. Just use the very edge of it. Nah, this doesn't cut for nothing. So we'll use our. See, where is our plier? There we go. These guys will cut fine. Okay. So you gotta go in the middle or something. There we go. All right, so we got that there. So we'll feed it now in here. And just to make safe, we'll put this other one here, just prepare ourselves. Put that in the loop here so that way it won't roll out. Okay, so we got that in there ready to go. And the other one's on the other end ready to go. Okay, so we got this here. I wish I had a bit more solder clamp, but this will work. Wow, it's strong. Alright, so I want you to stay there. Oh, sorry, you guys didn't see it. Okay, so here we go. Let's go set up our propane and everything here. I mean, butane. I keep calling it propane. Never even heard of butane until this project here. Okay, I never even went to a smoke shop before to buy anything. And here's the solder. Also, I guess these are rosin core solder. They look a little bit more thinner, so they might actually melt much faster. Let's try to see which one actually works best. So we can use that one from it, or we can stick with our original one. Since now we have a high torch here to heat things up, I think we could get away with it. So here we go. Guess this can here, do you shake it or what? Let's see here. Danger, caution, shake and press the vertical downward into center of refill valve and apply firm pressure. All right, so we do shake anything, I guess, that sprays. Ultra refined 5-time butane. They also have a model 7 times. I'm not even sure. But those looks like we probe it in there, huh? Am I probing it? Or you fill this up with this guy? I would assume that the can actually comes with it. I mean, the can in there, huh? Is it filling it? I guess it's filling it, huh? You want to do it at a level, maybe? Okay, let's stop because I'm not sure if I'm even doing it right. Okay, gas fill valve. Okay, we did that, right? So let's check it out. Okay, hold down the safety. Let there be fire. Okay, hold down safety again. I don't see any flames. Maybe I have to adjust the gas. It's probably hard to see because of sunlight too, so be careful. One way you could test it out, I guess, is maybe put a heat shrink or something, see if that shrinks up. So let's see this. Yeah, I have to adjust this torch. Maybe this is not hot yet, thank goodness. Okay, continuous. Wow, I do feel heat, but I don't really. And you know what? Best way to test out is get some solder on there and see if the solder melts. There you go. Heat is very visible though. I'm not sure if it ever tells you if it's indicating full or anything like that. So let me just close this back up. Alright, so here we go. Let's see if it actually even melts the solder. Pull down the safety lever. Or maybe this is an air valve. Has to get air from somewhere, right? So let's turn it on open position. This one on the bottom as well. Oh, there you go. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right, so here we go. The idea is to heat this guy up, and I could probably want to say we can feed him through the peephole. So let's bend him where we need to bend him. Okay, so there's the peak hole there, right? So what I'm gonna do is turn this guy on. I'm gonna go ahead and heat this guy. Whoa, I almost just scorched already. Oh yeah, look at that. Whew. That doesn't smell too good. First attempt there. Looked like the solder went everywhere else but the area. Alright, let's take it off and see. I doubt that it stick though, but my expertise work. Oh yeah, it didn't stick, but it definitely did burn and scorch the wire. Look at that. Alright, so maybe what I could do is maybe squeeze a little bit of the wire in there ahead of time. So let's try that one out, another temp here. So maybe I can put some wire in here. Let me get this nasty char that we just made. All right, this is where I probably call APM for backup here, or just give me a lot of advice on this one. Ah, man, this doesn't look too pretty. Doesn't look too pretty at all. So maybe I can I guess he said heat it from the backside and feed the solder from the end right there, and it'll suck into it maybe. So let's try that way. Well, I guess we can test this wire. We can cut it out if it's not to our satisfactory. Okay, he said the wires or the heat shrink will start, you know, it will start like feeding itself in. So I guess he said you want to go ahead and heat it from up top or bottom. There we go. And the solder will actually go into the wire. There you go. The wire's feeding it. Whoa. Holy smoke. Should you have all that smoke? It looks like it's burning it more than it really is helping it. Let me kick this puke cane out. Yeah. If there was a fuse in there, it probably popped by now. And it still didn't stick. Alright. So here we go. Let's see here. How are we gonna get this guy here? Okay, since the aftermath of our wire work there, I decided to cut it off, and I'm gonna give this guy a little bit rest until I actually know how to do it, because I don't want to ruin our fuse line wire here. So I just got a whole bunch of our ground wire here that's just for testing, and I already snipped a little tip there, and I'm not sure we need to actually put flex or not. So we'll do one without flex again to see if it's actually just maybe. Hopefully it doesn't come to this situation. I'm gonna use the same tip because I figured these guys are, you know, they can tolerate it. They're gonna turn a little bit weird color like this, bronze looking. It was actually a silver color earlier, if you remember. It was just like this color here. So we'll see. You know, I'm sure it's pretty melt toasty. Okay, great. So APM just messaged me. He said, keep your pretty much your tip onto the connector, and if you hit the insulator, it's gonna melt very fast. Okay, so the idea is try to get the solder as well at the same time. So we're not going to use flex, and we're going to try to do this again. Now I'm not sure how we're going to be able to feed our solder in there, so maybe I could put my solder ahead of time in there. Let's see what happens if I can shove. Okay, look, I could shove some solder up in there right now, right? So we'll shove some solder up in there. We'll turn on our thing again. Let me get my finger out of the way. I don't trust this thing, and I don't trust myself. Okay, here we go. Okay, so solder's stuck up in there.
Okay. Gonna hit it with a, I'm not sure because my angle here, I'm on front coming from the top, that's why I can't tell if I'm in the right direction. Okay, so I'm gonna go up like this. There we go. See what happens. All right. It doesn't look too bad, but other than that, it actually sticks amazingly. See, let me see if I can even do the test where I can pull it off. Let me see if I can get a plier here after we propane torch this already. Not propane torch it, butane torch it. To me, that's almost the same thing, but I'm sure propane is a different chemical. Yeah, it's funny, you can find propane and oxygen all day long at the hardware store and even at the auto parts store for welding and stuff like that, but they won't give you butane. It's like butane is like a cheap lighter fluid or something that people don't. Man, this stuff is strong. It's not coming out. Golly, now this is the connection I want, but I just don't want all that burned char that I did. Look at that. It's pretty much definitely really burnt on here. So I'm pulling it, and it's definitely a good joint. It ain't gonna go nowhere. Oh, there we go. Finally, I broke it off. Let's see here. So you can see here, it's still clean. So yeah, it did get a little bit of the thread. So we're gonna keep practicing until we actually can get it right. So yeah, I was able to pull it cleanly because it doesn't look like there's enough solder in there to fill this guy in. Not sure because maybe these tips are a little bit bigger. This is a 12 gauge tip and this is probably made for, it looks like a 6 gauge wire. So that might be maybe because it's too big of a tip. But let's see if we can get some more solder to fill in that gap. Okay, so we're gonna go. I realize this is probably because it's, you know, such a nice bright daylight, it's probably not gonna show us flame. Now I'm not gonna put my hand to cover it because I'm not too experienced with this kind of thing. So what I'm gonna do is, you can see what happened to the old one here. Did a pretty number on that one. Yeah, we burnt the insulator more than we actually made an effective solder area. So what I'm gonna try to do is see how this actually flows again. So let's go ahead and get started on, I'm gonna angle it. Well, you don't have to worry about it, just angle it pretty much. Okay, the lock position is off. Just not kind of worried. Okay, so here we go, you can hear it, see? You can hear it and you can actually see the solder melt right before your eyes really quickly. See that? And again, we don't want to cold solder it, so we're just trying to see if I get closer. Even even my chair is scared. The tip of his pants. I'm sure this little thing is pretty hot, but okay, so let's do this again. Pull down the safety lever. Okay, safety lever's pulled. And let's try to, alright, see there? Loose solder, right? I believe there's some solder in there. What I'm going to try to do is, how am I going to do this where I'm going to heat up the tip. Maybe back away. Let's look like I'm about an inch away, right? See, this is hot. Whoa, see the fire? I'm not even sure it's going in, to be honest with you. It looks like it's just covering up. So maybe let's try another example, and we'll put some flex in there and see if the flex actually holds us better. Definitely there's fire, so that's for sure knows it's working. So let me go and pull this out. I don't think, yeah, see, solder, actually solder did go in, but it's like a, yeah, I actually almost hold it in there. So let's try a different one now. Let's go and cut this off. We'll re-splice this. Again, this is our testing wires. So let's go and cut this guy out. Let's do a new soldering tip on him. We'll use the same tip here because we still haven't figured out the tip yet before we start, you know, ruining another clean tip. So we'll still play around with this one. So let's go ahead and this clamp works pretty damn nice. Okay, let's go and spice this guy up again using a 14 gauge, which is our center, third to the last, sort of. I think it's third to the last. Anyway, all right. We'll give it a little bit more. Chew there. There we go. Pulled it out. All right. Oh, actually, I cut a little bit some of the threads. So next time we'll use the 1 second to the last, because I think third to the last took out some of this threads. You can see here, some of his threads are gone. Yeah, it's not what we want. We want to keep the whole wire thread as much as we can. So let's go ahead and do this again. Now, even though this has solder, I wouldn't do this unless you know that this is going to be hot, so I guess it cool down pretty quickly. Okay, so we got that there. Now the idea is, oh, we're going to do this time, we're going to do it a little different. We're going to dip it with some Flex. So here we go. Some of this beeswax stuff. See if I can just kind of marinate it in there, sort of, right? And let's see if the Flex will attract the solder in there. I think this is why they use Flex for, to help, I guess, things from burning. So there we go, we got some of this sort of wax Flex there. Alright, so here we go. We're going to put back our tip. Now we got some Flex in there. Alright, there we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and, there's no solder in there, so we're hoping that the solder will flow to attract the Flex with the heat. Unless we could put solder from the bottom. This is probably the only way, so let's do this. We'll beat the solder. Until you hear like a shh, that means real. Alright, just spoke with Anthony. He's got a few more tips for me. He said never feed the solder from the bottom. Anthony from APM Scooting. And he said try to get into that little inspection holes there from the top. So we're going to try to do that. First of all, let me try to get this tip out again so I can reuse it. Let's see how good of a solder it did last. It seems like my propane shuts off my camera for not whatever reason the camera decides to. You can see there it's already pretty much gone. Alright, so let's just go ahead and redo this. Again, we're going to use the splicer for the other gauge wire. Let's go and chop this part off. Or we can here. There we go. Alright, so let's go ahead and use number 2 here for our gauge wire, because this is a 12 gauge, so this is 12 gauge. Alright, so let's go and give it enough insulation. I didn't want to use a 12 one because it's hard to cut with it. This is a little kind of not so good cheap wire cutter. Alright, so yeah, I'll have to give it a little tug, but it should come. There we go. Alright, so let's go and tug it all the way out. Still has some strand there. Okay, there we go. Alright, so let's go and get another tip out. We're going to keep testing it. And I'm going to try to find some more small tips like these. Alright, so here we go. It seems like we can almost like get like solder in there. And then even like from there, I guess, more than likely we could probably even hold it. Hold it like this. When the butane gets hot, it might even, you know, burn my hand or something. So we could put solder in here. And then go for the dip like right there like this. We might be able to get away. Cause you can see this one's too much. I'm sorry, you guys can't see it. So you can see this one right here. I was thinking that maybe we could even put hold it with a needle nose plier. Torch this to get all that solder hot, and then once it gets hot, take it off the torch, and then put the wire in like this and just hold it in place. It's almost like super gluing something, right? So we could probably try that route. Might be a little bit easier for us. But let's go and try to see if we can actually feed it from the top. So what I'm going to do is cut some slack here, because we don't need all this excessive. That way you can see here it's perfectly in. And I don't think we can actually get any kind of solder in here, unfortunately. It's just too darn small. So let's go and just try it this way. We're going to go ahead and hold our wire, of course, because we need to hold our wire regardless. Or have our wires ready, let's say. Okay, so we'll have this wire ready here. Okay. Stay put. Or we can even come this way. If we really want to protect our insulator, we can actually use this jack as a multi-purpose to protect the insulator, so it won't torch very far. But I think, I got a feeling that we can probably get away with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to hold this with the plier, and hopefully this plier doesn't get hot. So I'm going to hold it right here like really wet with the tip. I'm going to pre-feed some solder in there ahead of time. I'm going to melt the solder just as APM did on his scootering video. So let me go ahead and get some solder in there. What he did was he pretty much cut a few solder in there already ahead of time. So I think I can probably do the same thing here. Let's see here. I'm going to wind up some solder. This should be plenty actually. Okay, so let's go and cut this. Okay, so I'm going to pre-stuff some solder in here. When it gets hot, of course, it's going to melt some more, but
it's going to be lesser than this, but okay, so here we go. So we're going to stuff this with some pre-solder. There we go.